So we're at roughly 1,000,000 pounds an acre right now. Did some math. We got 120,000 pounds roughly in this group. Put them on 1/8 of an acre, which is 0.125. Gave them a 40 by 135 square foot section. And that came out to 1,000,000 pounds to the acre. This girl missed out on it. They thought they were gonna get the whole field. Ha! They saw polywire and had to turn back around. You want in there, girl? It won't be long. So we'll see how long it takes them to get this gnawed off. Have to move them here shortly. But just wanted to play around with it. I don't think I've ever been this tight before. See if we can get this girl in there. You're missing out on the fun. There you go. So, fence posts are 10 foot apart. 1, 2, 3, 4. 40 feet. And then I Google Earthed 135 feet. Put my corner in. And that's 5,400 square foot, roughly. Which comes out to 1/8 of an acre. So 120,000 pounds on 1/8 of an acre comes out to 1,000,000 pounds per acre. Stock density. We were at 250,000 a couple days ago behind us. But I wanted to see what 1,000,000 pounds looks like, and this is what it looks like. They're probably not too happy, but they're gonna have to get over it. There's a lot of forage for them to eat, and they'll get moved when it's cleaned up. This section right here has been a little water lane. Stock tanks over there for them to come back to. It's a cooler day today, so they won't need any shade today and tomorrow, I believe. But then it's supposed to warm up, so we'll have to give them some shade in the trees up the hill. So once they're done in here, we'll make another paddock for them going up the hill. And what's nice about this field is I have a water line running above ground poly pipe along that fence line and water points along it. So I can move this water tank right along this fence line and have portable water. They don't have to walk back to a water tank or a water trough or the creek. I can keep them in here and get my stock density up. So I will move that tank over here shortly. but right now they don't need it. They're gonna chow down. See what they're grazing. Fescue and bluegrass and orchard grass are pretty well mature now. Make for some good seed. They got some clover, red and white clover, some horse nettle. Got some annual ryegrass. Pretty sure that's what it is. I asked my NRCS guy the other day because I wasn't sure what that stuff was. I saw a lot more of it in my pastures this year. And that is Queen Anne's lace, maybe? But we're beating this field up, beating this fescue up, trying to get some more warm seasons out here. Get some more trampling and fertilizer on it. And what's key is the rest. You've got to give it rest. We won't be back in here till it's fully recovered, depending on the rain. There's a bunch of that ryegrass. That stuff has been spread out through my pastures pretty good. Haven't really seen much of it before, unless I didn't notice it. It's like some curly dock or some sort of forb. A little bit of ragweed, they'll eat that as long as it's tender. Some other forb. But yep, got some good diversity out here. See if we can't get some more. There's some Johnson grass in places in this field. There's some plantain. Boy, that stuff's tall. It's pushing 3 foot. That's seed head. And all the seed heads from the grass are above my waist. Not too many thistles out here. This is what years of management and good grazing. And thistles don't have much of a chance. Plus, with stocking your cattle up, they'll eat more of them. And then the musk thistle weevil will take care of the rest of them. Just about every thistle I've seen has that musk thistle weevil larva on the seed heads. And they're feeding on those seed heads right now. I've seen them. Let's check this one out over here, see if we got any. I'm sure it's got larvae on it. Got a bee on it. Oh yeah. See them brown specks? Yeah, they're working on them. But those brown specks, and even on this one up here, is what you want to look for. They lay their larva. The weevil, adult, lays their larva underneath the seed head, and it hatches and goes into the seed head and feeds on it. And you'll see those flowers that look like they die. When they're good and healthy and going to seed, they'll look pink like that and then turn white, and then the dow will spread. But when those weevils eat on them, They look like they shriveled up and died. And I've been seeing a lot of that. So yeah, you gotta look at them, but they're not producing any seeds. And a thistle seed can be in the ground for what, 7 to 10 years or so. And it takes about the same amount of time to build your musk thistle weevil population up. And they say in that amount of time that they can control 95% of your musk thistle population. But you can't spray them. There's some Lespedeza looking stuff, looks like. Can't spray them, those thistles. I know it's tempting, but even if you spray them now, in that stage they curl over and you still got to look at them the rest of the year unless you clip them. So just let nature do what it needs to do. If they're not producing seed, who cares? And if I have any fields that they're kind of thick, those thistles, I'll just clip them after the cows. Looks like we got some Canadian thistle in here, a little patch of it. They'll put a hammer on that stuff. It's just about to go to seed, put out a seed head, they'll hammer that. But yep, that's how you can control thistle without chemicals. Get some stock density on them. You get 1,000,000 pounds. I don't do 1,000,000 pounds every day, but you do that every day if you got time to do it, and there will be not much left of those thistles. Granted, some of them will probably grow back, but you just got to get back in time and keep them tender to graze them again. So that's what we need to watch. Making sure we get back in time to these fields, since we're leveling out the playing field and keeping everything tender when it grows back. You hear that sound? Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Cattle putting on weight off grass that we didn't have to plant, didn't have to fertilize, didn't have to spray, just put up a poly wire. Guts are looking good on them. And how you tell that is by looking on this side of this cow. Right up there in front of her hip bone. it's filled in. It's what you want to see when they're getting enough to eat. If it's depressed, looks like a death triangle, you're not giving them enough. You want that hip bone to be good and flush. Right there, and right in front of there, right there. You want that good and filled out. Boy, there's been a lot of people putting some hay down in our area. I mean, just about everywhere you look, there's hay down. Makes us feel like we're doing something different, doing something wrong, but shoot. I don't miss it. I don't think Dad misses it either. We bought some last week. Barns are pretty well filled up. Got plenty for the winter. If it keeps raining like it does, we might not even need to feed any. We'll see. But I don't know one single person other than my buddy down the road that has cattle and doesn't make hay in Rockingham County. I mean, it just, everybody that I know that has cattle makes hay. And it's like, why? Why are you making hay? Let your cows graze your forage. It's better quality feed in the first place. And two, the cow can harvest it and fertilize it. Your tractor can't do that I know of. Harvest it and fertilize it in one pass. So why are you spending all that time and effort and money making hay that's not as good for them as if you would have just let them eat it in the field? And then you got all the expense in it. And then you got to put fertilizer back on it. Because if you don't and you keep haying it, it'll turn to broom sedge and cedar trees. I just don't understand it. There's that poly pipe. Runs along this whole fence line on up to the hill, and there's a Ritchie trough up there that it plugs into. And it runs down there, and I can graze that field to the north on it as well. There's a water point at the end of it. But in all seriousness, you know, if you got cattle, why are you making hay? I don't know. Get some water, get some fence up, if that's the reason being. But I guess it just looks prettier. Which I guess it does. You know, compared to this, I don't know. It looks prettier because it's more of a monoculture, because you mow it 3 times a year and you don't give hardly anything a chance to grow up but the grasses. But shoot, when we come back to this, it should look like a second cutting hayfield. Especially if we get some rain. Plus it's got all the fertilizer on it because we didn't take anything off. We left it all out here. You make hay, you take everything off. You got to put something back. We didn't take anything off. We trampled it, ate it, pooped on it, peed on it. And we stimulated the roots in the ground to grow back and catch that solar energy from the sun to grow back and grow more grass. But everybody's different. guess some people like to sit in a tractor instead of moving polywire. But I guarantee you that moving polywire pays a lot better than sitting in a tractor, especially if you're feeding that stuff right back to your cows. But if you're selling it, that's a different story. But still, you're just mining your farm. You're not building any topsoil. Got some heifers over there mowing the yard off. That mower can sit in the shed for all I care. Those black mowers and getting more white and red mowers can harvest it and fertilize it. That lawnmower can't do that. Plus they don't burn any gasoline, so there's no fuel expense. So it's been 20 couple minutes they've been in here. I bet another 15 or 30 minutes they'll be ready to move. But 1,000,000 pound stock density, pretty cool stuff. Let me know if you've done it before. This is the first time I've done it. I may have done it in the past, I don't know, with strip grazing, but didn't really calculate the numbers and figure it up. Because when we strip graze in the wintertime, give them little strips of fescue, our stock density is pretty high when they're on a certain strip each day. But I haven't figured it up like this before. And girls, calves up there along the woods. So I need to get this water tank moved over there, get that fence taken up, that back fence, take that up, and then we'll send a wire up the hill, keep them in this strip right here for today and tomorrow. And once it gets hot, we might move, give them another strip that way, and then give them some access to the shade up on the hill. And then once we get up to the barn, which is up there, we got a working facility up there. We need to preg check these fall calvers and get rid of any open ones and keep the ones that are bred, and get these calves, heifers that were born last fall, get them out of here so we can put the bulls in here to breed the spring calvers. Be about time to put those bulls in the next couple weeks. And that'll put us to start calving around March, middle of March, 1st of April. Actual spring calving, not this so-called early spring calving these guys call it around here when they're calving in January and February. That is not spring calving, that's winter calving. I don't know why you'd want to calve in the wintertime, but everybody's different. Well, we're gonna get on out of here, go check another group after this, and after we move this group again, go check another group and probably move them. We moved a group before this, so everybody should be moved and have plenty to eat. Today's Monday. I don't do much on Sundays, try not to. So Mondays are typically my bigger days as far as getting everybody moved and getting back in the swing of things. But yep, we'll catch y'all another day.